What's happening, people? Welcome back. Here's your opposition preview for Tottenham versus Manchester City this weekend in the Premier League. It is a big one. Tottenham need results. City need to keep with Arsenal, putting the pressure on, as Arsenal have dropped a lot of points in the league recently. It's a lot. Whenever they lose, that is huge for them at the moment, and of course affects Man City. So this game is big. All eyes on this one, as one of the games at the end as well of this game week. And I'm joined by Luke for the Not In My Lifetime podcast. Luke, how are you? And please talk to people about yourself, what you do, and also the podcast.
Yeah, I'm all good, mate. All good. Yes, I'm a City fan. I've been doing this podcast. Well, it's more like a channel, that's sort of like it's more like a brand. But obviously, we do a podcast. Obviously, every week. Also with a couple of guests or other people throughout the City community. Obviously, young, old fan doesn't really matter, from around the world as well. It's a bit more of a variety. Doing it for almost the last 2 years now. Growth obviously is very hit and miss, but as you know, when it comes to you and YouTube, it's never sort of guaranteed. Sometimes you get a good burst of subscribers, sometimes you don't get any for a bit. But as long as you're enjoying doing it, people are enjoying the content, that's all I care about. And people build out the content or enjoy it. So all things, obviously, the actual name is coined, obviously, when Alex Ferguson said City being top, not in my lifetime. That's what it's called. So yeah, that's why it's called the way it is. And yeah, it's been good. It's good to talk all things City, even though last season wasn't great. It is what it is. Whenever you start YouTube, you can't always pick and choose when you're going to win stuff all the time. It's all about the football experience and supporting the team. So yeah,
Absolutely. Well, Luke, I'm grateful for your time. Thank you very much for coming on ahead of this game. Let's get straight into it then. And Luke, I want to talk about your season so far. What have you made of it? Because at one point, of course, bigger gap between you and Arsenal. You've now closed that gap, through some decent results, and also Arsenal dropping points. Because I look at you this year, and I think you look good, but I've just felt that I've been concerned on your behalf defensively. I think, we get onto the window in a minute, but I think that's why we've seen a lot of window activity, including in defensive positions. So what have you made of your season as a whole?
I'm actually quite pleased because I think at the start of the season, right, last season, mentality in the bin, team wasn't playing well at all. Just nowhere near the team of previous years, the most dominant team in England, probably one of the dominant teams in Europe, obviously, but unfortunately, last year was just hit the wall. The whole team hit the wall. The club hit the wall, which is felt like we had to do a rebuild. And this is our first year of doing a rebuild. I think we've done very well. We've bought very well. I think Ryan is obviously will be a good long-term signing. It's been a bit up and down, but he's getting the goals and assists. He's starting to get better with the more games he's playing. I think we'll start seeing him come into his own later on in the season. Rayan Czech has been a fantastic sign for £30 million. Yeah, missed out on Florian Wirtz, but at the end of the day, right, Florian Wirtz is a big gamble. He's a good player, obviously a great player, but I think we got someone good to come in for a long-term investment for what he's going to be as a player in the future, right, Jack? He's definitely one of the players that could be a Ballon d'Or winner in the future. He's that kind of level of ability. I'm not saying he's there yet. Still got a long way to go, but I think he's got that ability to be one of the best players in the world. I just think we've got a team like you have young players to obviously experienced players that are only going to get better and better. I think that was second, only 4 points off. Arsenal have a complete squad, by the way. They should be winning the league by a canter this year. Liverpool obviously being terrible. Obviously, all the players they brought in. I'm really impressed with what we're doing. Carabao Cup semi-final, obviously not in the final yet. We're obviously doing well in the semi-final, obviously, but it's not done. You've got to get it done to secure it, but I'm pleased with that. UCL top 8 should have been a lot higher than really where we are. Obviously, Bella Glimt lost 3-1, lost to Leverkusen home 2-0. Just certain games where we're not being good enough. And that's fair enough. We're not going to be that team yet. It's going to be, I reckon, next year probably a much better year for us in terms of doing better in games like Brighton away and obviously playing you at home, probably where we get more experience playing that now. But I think where we are going to February, I'm pleased with where we are. Obviously, nothing's done yet. No, it's still, going into February, still nothing's done yet. But where we are right now, I'm pleased so far.
It's good to hear, Luke. Thank you. And I do think you can definitely take that fight to Arsenal right till the very end, which is good. Because at one point I was like, are they going to run away with it? Because they looked really good. And I was thinking, how's this going to go? But it's good to have that two-horse race we're seeing right now. Absolutely. Can I ask you then about your January transfer window, which I think has personally helped you close that gap a little bit already. And that is signing Semenya and Mark Gay, the two big names there. Yeah, so talk to me what you've made of that so far. Those are the big names at the time of recording. We could have someone else who knows where the time this gets out or people see it. But, which one out of the two are you more excited about if you had to choose one?
That is a good question, because I think both players bring. I think experience in their own way. Both players have come through the lower levels of England, so they've both got something to prove. Like both, he was captain of Palace. Came in, won FA Cup last year against us. Is what it is. He won the final, obviously, with Palace last year, and deservedly so. I was at the final that day. Palace were well better than us in that game. Semenyo, brilliant player from National League South, something like that, to Premier League, and now UCL. Now, obviously, in the next month or so, both players deserve to be at a club like us because they've both earned their right. Obviously, Gay is going to be probably one of England's best centre backs going forward for the next few years, and they're probably playing World Cups and Euros. Obviously, Stones is getting phased out, but now his injuries coming up to him a little bit now, which is sad. I think for what it is, like I'm probably more excited about, I'd say, Semenyo, but Gahey's for me is going to be a great player because he'll have Diaz, he'll have Vardiol. Husnov, by the way, is a player that a lot of people don't give a lot of respect to. Yes, Chelsea was. This is what media do. They focus on one game where he was poor in his debut, yet he did well for the rest of the game. And he's just come on leaps and bounds in the last year or so. As a 21-year-old Uzbekistani player playing his second year in Europe, in the Premier League, in Champions League, and he's come into an injury-ridden defence and come in there and done a very good job and sort of kept clean sheets for it. Yeah, we got Donnarumma in goal, but we got a play. But he's getting better and better playing with everyone around him, and he's going to be a good player for the future. But again, back to the two sides you just questioned. I think Semenyo for me has come in and got three goals, should be four. That weird offside goal against Newcastle, but whatever, it is what it is. But 3 goals, an assist. Exeter, yeah, we'll give that one. But Newcastle away, great goal. Obviously against Wolves, good goal. Obviously Derby wasn't great, but the whole team was terrible in the Derby. It wasn't just him. I think he's going to be a big player because he's physical. In a game like against Tottenham, I mean, I'm going to ask you quickly: is Udogie fit?
Doggy is fit. He's back. Yeah, he's all okay.
Right, because I think a Doggy against Semenyo will be a good battle because Semenyo is quite a physical player. He's quick,
physical battle. Yeah,
yeah. That's why he's also a back post run. So if someone's going to play the ball wins the box,
yes,
that's what we need. And so Savinho will be a good player in the future. I know he will be, but he needs to get his confidence up. When he's a confident player, he's one of the best wingers in the league because he's got that ability to dribble on the ball, good passing range, and the shooting, he'll get there. With him,
he looks good so far, to be honest. I think he looks good.
Do you know what it is? Like, people say he's been terrible, right? But I think, well, he's new to this league. Really? He costs £20 million. What? If it was like £100 million, sure, all right, fair enough. But £20 million from Girona, yeah, it's just a club, but we got him in who's playing well in PSV, playing well in Girona, in the Liga, one of the best wingers in the league that year. He signed a long-term deal, which I'm pleased he signed, because I think that gives him the ability now to sort of move and sort of get better and better. Well, obviously he has Doku and Semenyo now. We've got experienced player and 2 player like Doku's obviously not going to play this game, sadly, but obviously he's been playing really well this season. I just think that we've got a good squad of players where I think we can sort of just, over time, they're going to get better. I'm not asking that I can't see this team win the quad. Like, it'd be unbelievable if it did happen, but let's be honest here, right? We've come to close to the quad 2 or 3 times now in the last few years. And the one year we got treble, we lost to a absolutely terrible Southampton team away from home in the Carabao Cup, which we should have won, by the way, but we completely let them batter us. The quad isn't impossible, but you've got to have the luck in every moment, even when you're playing terrible, find a way to get over the line. And
yeah,
well, I'm sure in Europa League for you, right? You weren't perfect yourself, but you found a way to win the games, and that's the hardest bit about winning trophies: finding the way when it's not going your way. And that's why I think this team right now, we're getting better and better, but it's going to be bumps in the road along the way. That's why I'm being respectable where we are. Obviously, I know we've obviously got experience to win trophies, but it's not as simple as people think it is. It's not as simple as going win a trophy. You've got to fight and get in there. So, yeah.
Good stuff. Thank you. And I think you've had a good window, and Arsenal yet to do anything, in my opinion, of huge scale compared to what you've done. So it gives you a fighting chance when you improve, And Arsenal, don't get it wrong, had a great summer. We know about that. As you as well, good signings in there. So that's the thing. It's battle of good signings really, and to make the impact. But Luke, on to Spurs and the season so far. We're speaking about it, about it, weren't we, before in the green room, and complete contrast to Spurs finishing 4th in the Champions League table in the end in that new look league phase. But then, as we talk now going into this game, 14th in the Premier League, 8 points, from safety, but still only 9 points away from Europe. So it shows you how congested the table is. So what have you made of Spurs this season and the job that Thomas Frank is doing? Because he's under a lot of pressure by us Tottenham fans.
Do you know what it is, right? I think Thomas Frank's a good manager. I think at Brentford he did a fantastic job. But obviously he had Tony and then Buemo, he had Ollie Watkins at one point as well. We had a very good team of players. I think obviously you look at what Keandre's doing at Brentford, obviously with Igor Thiago and Shard. I mean, Brentford just keep getting players through the door that replace other ones that come through for some reason, but it is what it is. But Tottenham is a weird one because I can see what you're trying to do, but it's just not working. There's no consistency to it. And the thing is, I get the urge for Spurs fans to sack managers when they're not doing well. I get it, and he hasn't been doing well at all. But then you said, got top 4 UCL. I think someone like Kolo Muani, for me, while watching, he's got experience and he's a good striker. Now, if he can stay fit, you've got a good striker that you can use in the league and Champions League. Solanke, the same thing. Solanke, for me, is a good striker. Again, injury prone. If he wasn't injury prone, against Solanke and more available, you might have a better opportunity at getting more goals and winning games. That's very simple. But I know injuries, especially losing someone like Madison as well, was a big loss. Like he was a big creative player for you guys, last season. And when he's injured, I know Simmons is obviously a new player. But I think Jamie Simmons for me has got a lot of potential to be a good player as well. I do like him as a player. I think he's very good. But again, I think a lot of it is down to, I think if you weren't so low in the league, let's say you were like 7th or 8th, right? And 4 points off top 4, it'd be fine. Because at least that way you get a few wins under your belt and suddenly you're 4th or 3rd again. Like that's, I mean, it's because of where you are right now, how you're performing. I think if you can get a run of results going, there's every chance of him turning it around. But the problem is, and you know it yourself, right? Football is not a patient game anymore. It used to be like back in the day, but like unless you're a club like Tottenham that wants to be winning trophies more after the Europa League, you'll be doing that more. Time is never given to a lot of managers. I feel like for Frank, let's say you were to lose on Sunday. Well, actually, I think he'll only get sacked if you're not to the Champions League. I think that top 4's given him a chance to say, right, we'll give you a chance in the UCL. Because I think, like Ands last year, he got sacked, rightly so. You finished 17th, you won the Europa League, but it was still not good enough in the league. It sounds harsh, but that's football. The way in the league was terrible. I only got Europa League, but it was a real miserable season apart from that. And that's why I think you got to get yourself to a point where you've got a manager who's able to manage the league and the Europe. That's what you've got to try and get to. I think Poch did that very well for you. Obviously, he got sacked. I think fair enough. I think it was the end, sadly, at that time. But you got to. I mean, if it isn't Frank, you got to find someone who can do that Europe management towards league management quite well, which I know is not easy to do. But if you can find someone like an Emery, for example, Emery does Europa League very well and Europe very well, and does league very well. It's just that experienced manager that you need. I think Frank's not that experience. Sadly, it's a shame, but yeah, that's what I think.
I personally think you sum it up perfectly. I struggle to disagree with any of that as a Spurs fan. Honestly, I think you're right. All I would say is that, you're absolutely right. And the reason for me we can't, I don't think it's down to the manager. I think it's the fact that we don't give the manager the tools. Like, we don't have the squad that is capable. So, I mean, and don't get me wrong, be a good talker, everything like that. But he had his faults, absolutely. But I look at that and go, we didn't have the tools at all. Yes, through injuries, but also even when everyone was fit, that squad still wasn't strong enough. We always knew a couple of injuries and we were down, and we had, of course, experience through the whole season more than quite a few injuries, hamstring injuries, which were, don't get wrong, on the manager, the way that training, the way you play. But the point is, I think we had to just prioritize one because we didn't have the ability with the squad or the players to do both. That's the issue.
Yeah.
That's the way I view it personally, and that's why I think as a club, we constantly prioritize one or the other. Like, again, this year looks like the Champions League. I don't think it's Frank's telling them, let's just focus on the Champions League. I think the players take initiative and go, look, we're going to have to just focus on one here. That's how I view it. So I'd like us to stick with a manager, back a manager, but just because I want that doesn't mean you back the wrong horse, kind of the thing. And I think Frank, for me, I'd give him till the end of the season, opportunity to turn it around. He's changed the formation recently. I think I'd give him time to turn it around, but the worry us amongst us Spurs fans is the fixtures now, because after you it's United, then I think it's Arsenal, Newcastle, Chelsea, for example, and being 8 points from safety, of course, those games there's more than 8 points in it. And I can't see Tottenham winning many, if any, of those. And that is the concern. Could we get dragged into something quite nasty? Yeah, what if you get a couple of injuries and they're getting the square pegs and round holes? So that's the concern at the moment.
Yeah,
But Luke, thank you very much.
I think also if you sack him as well, now who going to get in at this point? Like
That's the point. Yeah.
It's too late for that now. I
Yeah.
think it's too late.
It'd only be an interim thing, and I'd argue what more do you achieve from that if they're not going to be here longer? Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me at all. Stick with him if you can. But of course, the emergency button, you get dragged into something really nasty. For whatever reason, in the next few weeks, we somehow fall in the bottom three. I can't believe I'm saying that, but then I understand maybe a little bit more. You make a decision. Sad that I'm having to say that. To be honest, to cover my back, I think that's could potentially be where we're at. But Luke, a couple of questions, if you don't mind, before we get onto the game itself. One being, like, if you had to take one Tottenham player, I'm sure it's difficult in a way at the moment. So you had to take one, no more or no less, to add to the City team. Who would it be and why? And they can sit on your bench by all means.
I think at the attack, I'm going to say no. I like Kudus, I like Xavi Simons, but I don't think they're better than what we've got right now, which it's a bit harsh, but I'm going off what I'm just, I've got to be right there here. The midfield, it's done well against us recently, but I still don't think it gets in anywhere. I think it's very physical midfield, but if we have Rodri and Nico Gonzalez, we should be able to sort of deal with Palhinha and that fine. But again, it's not guaranteed it's going to happen, by the way, but we should do with our players we've got available. I'm probably going to say Van der Ven, because I think Mickey Van der Ven is the kind of player that would suit our team quite well. Now, obviously, we've got loads of the back City, so he wouldn't get in anyway. Well, he might do, depending on who you drop out, whatever. But you've got having Diaz, Vardiol, and Husanov, and whatever we got. I just think, actually, do you know what? No, I'll say Pedro Porro. Because a right back's what we need. I like Nunez; he's done a very good job at right back, but we need a proper right back playing at right back. And I think we've got O'Reilly and we've got Nori, who are both doing very well at the moment. But I think Van der Ven would be pointless because it's just we haven't got a space anymore. Like, obviously, got Gahey through the door now. You aren't going to get Van der Ven as a fourth. That's not going to work at all. I'll go Porro. For me, Porro, definitely.
It's a good shout. For me, he gets too much hate and like too much stick amongst Spurs fans. I think he's a good player. I don't get that.
Also, as well, Harry, as well, like, remember, he used to be our player at one point. Obviously, he didn't play. Like him and Jan Kuso, I don't know why we didn't give him a chance, but oh well, that's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's surprising. Yeah, I think you'd have him back now. I like him. I think he's really good. Not perfect. He makes mistakes defensively, often the same kind of mistake, but going forward, I really like him. Really powerful, aggressive, offensive player. That's what we like.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Luke, that was for me the main question there, but also, for you, what stands out as the best, or in your opinion, favourite memory in this fixture, Tottenham City? What's your favourite memory?
Oh, that is a good question. There's been a couple of games over the years where we've won quite. I think the 5-1 at Tottenham when Dzeko got 4 goals was definitely one of my favourites. I think obviously there's like cup games going years before that, but let's be honest here. I mean, I was like 7, 8 years old, maybe younger than that. I don't remember much now anyway, so I'll be lying. I said that. I think recent years, I'm going to say the 5-1, the 6-0 when Navas scored that mental lobbed goal against Lloris about that minute in. I think probably the 2-0 when Haaland got 2 goals when Son was set. I think because that one won us the title in a way, and it rattled Arsenal fans. Was funny. Like, I was laughing because the amount of fume on Arsenal Twitter and YouTube, it was beautiful that night. It was beautiful. So I'd probably say that one most of all because of how funny the timeline was after that game. So yeah.
Love that. I mean, you must be as sick as Arsenal fans as we are right now, because of course, being in a battle with them.
Arrogance. They've won
insufferable.
Nothing.
They're a special lot, I'll tell you.
You've won nothing, guys. There's like when you win something, cool. But like when you've won something more than they have, yeah, Europa League. I still the trophy, by the way. I still the trophy, by the way. It's still a good trophy. People think, oh, it's not. It is a good trophy. You've won. You got into UCL and beat United in the final. Like that's a heritage team that you've beat in the final 1-0 when you haven't won a trophy in what at that point? What, like 17 years at that point? Like
yeah, spot on. And no European trophy in 41 years either, so it felt huge.
And Arsenal won nothing in Europe, have they? So
No, but that's the thing. They mocked it, right? And I'm not one to go around loud and proud. I'm really happy you won the Europa League, but I'm not one for rubbing it in or anything. But they gave it the big end, a lot of them. And I'm thinking, you're in the Europa League, you couldn't win it. They're like, oh, we're too good to play in it. I'm like, you couldn't win it when you were in it. That's the thing.
yeah,
Just the entitlement is unreal, and the excuses as well. I mean, I respect that Arteta was a coaching staff for you under Pep, but some of the things he comes out with and some things he gets away with, I think, goodness me, how do you get away with what you do? Like, good example is technical area. He's never inside the technical area. He's often on the edge of the pitch. And I think any other manager, you've got a fine coming out at the end of the game. But
he's not Pep.
hey
He's
ho,
not Pep at all. He wishes he
no, he
was
thinks
Pep.
he is. He thinks he's better than Pep, but he's certainly not.
The thing is,
No.
right, like Maresca's a better manager than him. Maresca's a better manager than Arteta because Maresca's actually won stuff. Club World Cup.
Yeah.
Oh, but he beat PSG 3-0 in the final with Champions of Europe. Of course, he's a good manager. Leicester,
Yeah.
look, the Championship's been very crap, very up and down last few years. He won Leicester a league championship, Championship, whatever, but it's still development on his career. He then won a Conference League, whatever, but he's still won 2 trophies in one season. That is
Still a
still.
trophy, yeah.
At the end of the day, right, Maresca's, I'm not saying he's a bad manager. Maresca's, look, I won't have him at City personally, but I think he's a good manager that will do well at another club, maybe in Europe, maybe in the league again. I think a lot of people overrate Arteta too much when he's won one FA Cup with Emery's team. It's not his team, by the way. Like Saka was barely in the squad. Like he had Bamiyang up front, who you got rid of, but a year or two later on. Like honestly, this year, mate, they were nothing. He's still in a job. That club ain't serious. I mean, it was, but it'd be more or less serious. So
Speak to Arsenal fans; they think they're going to win the quadruple. So we'll have to see what's going to
good
happen.
luck.
Some genuinely think
Good
that.
luck.
I know. Look at the way they celebrated when they signed Gyökeres. Can you imagine the way they celebrate if they win just one
He's
trophy?
better than Haaland, is he? Oh, is he better than Haaland? Is he? Cool. All right. Is Gyökeres and Isak in a World Cup
I,
for Sweden? They're not. No,
I
of
remember that
course not.
conversation. They still, well, I don't think they've gone quiet now, but I remember when he signed how good they thought he was. And yeah, if you go right down just briefly to the bottom of the Portuguese league, with all due respect, because the top of the league there is competition, but the bottom of the
Yeah.
league, where would they be when it comes to the English league? Championship probably, if we're being honest, if not lower, because there's a huge gap in quality. And of course, with England, we know that, like we've seen again this week with European results such as the Champions League, how far ahead English teams actually are. But at the bottom of the Portuguese league, right, the bottom 4 teams finished all with less than 3 points last season, where Gyökeres got all these goals, and Gyökeres only scored against pretty much, I think, 82% of his goals were against the bottom 7 that finished on like 2, 3, 4, 5 points. So
Whereas
it's not
Haaland
staggering.
was at Molde, got 9 goals for Norway in under-21's game in one game, by the way, which is
It's
ridiculous.
incredible.
He's like that's easy. Went to Salzburg, did very, very well. Got a hat trick in his first game. Oh, that's too easy. Okay, cool. Goes to Dortmund, absolutely smashes it up. He doesn't win a league against Bayern Munich in the league. I mean, you can't carry the whole team on his own. But yeah, he comes into our team, and obviously, I'm not sure how long he'll be here for. I think he'll be here for quite a while because I can't see Madrid probably ruining the whole club for him at this point. For me, right, all the rumors about Haaland going anywhere else. I think he signed a long-term deal with us for 10 years. Do you think he's going to leave instantly? No. I just think, people compare players too much. Just let these guys develop. Saka, for me, right, has been overrated to the point where I'm like, he's a good player. I like him. He's a good player, but he's not world class. Neither's Foden, by the way. Like, again, I love Foden, but I'm not having this like, he's world class. It can't be one good year and then you go. Like, it has to be year after year after year of performances. That's why Haaland is world class. That's why De Bruyne was world class. That's why Son, for me, was world class because they do it every year. Gareth Bale, I know he had injuries, but he was still a world class player. That is the level for me of a world class player. I don't rate players any more than that in this league. So that's me.
So true. And that's the thing as well with Saka, and like he's a good player. But I remember trying to say something like, he's like, I think it was an instant one of the referee, he was acting really arrogant. I'm like, I don't know who he thinks he is. He's a good player, don't get me wrong, he's good for country, good for club, but he's not but he's not like that's it, you're right. Yeah, he's not world class, and people just went absolutely mad. Oh, he's the best Premier League player and all things like that. I'm like, okay.
0 goals in
am I
30
missing
Premier League
something?
games. 0 goals in 30 Premier League games. Yeah, he's world class, is he? Cool. All right.
And I just see some of his crosses and they go straight out of play, not being funny. He's a good player again, but he's not boom up here. And some of those players you talked about, I couldn't agree more with some of that. But hey ho, we can talk about Arsenal for ages. And honestly,
Yeah,
I'm really good at putting bias aside, right? Like Chelsea and West Ham, for example, I don't like, but like West Ham, yeah, good couple of results recently. I think honestly, hand on heart, they probably stay up, believe it or not
yeah,
now,
well,
under Nuno. And
yeah,
Chelsea, I think, are doing a great job under new managers. So for me, this with Arsenal has
100%.
nothing to do with bias. It really doesn't. I just think as the Premier League, I think all clubs, whether a historic rival of Arsenal or not, can agree that they're just a difficult club to deal with. And maybe it's just the way they come across, but I find the players, like it would be Gabriel or whoever it may be, very difficult and almost insufferable. But hey ho, we'll leave the Arsenal convo for now.
Yeah.
But Luke, on this game, the Tottenham
Mhm.
Hotspur Stadium, go back to things, Tottenham and Man City. How do you feel about this in particular game? Do you feel confident?
It's a weird one because I'm not nervous or anything. To be honest, with you, I'm not scared of anyone in the world right now because everyone's got faults in their team right now. Like Madrid aren't great, Barcelona aren't great. No one's scaring me right now. They lost Berkeland's 3-1, but that's down to their own stupidity. But Tottenham away for me, right? It's kind of like it's down to us here. If you want this league title, yeah, even if you turn up right and play very, very well, give it your all, which you should do in a big game like this anyway. We've got to be good enough ourselves to at least match that. If we match what you're going to do in terms of if you play very well against stuff, we should beat you in that case. I'm not saying we're a given right to beat you because that's not how it works. Football, a team's on the pitch and you go for it. I think if we play the right team, obviously no Doku, so it is what it is. So it probably will be like probably Marmoush left and probably says something right with like Shirky may throw in behind probably. So it's a bit good attack, but no like pace on the left wing as it was originally. I think we'll win. I think it will be a very scrappy game. I think people are thinking it's going to be a whitewash. It's not. As bad as you've been, it's a big game at home. Big games at home, you want to at least give it a go. And also, Frank against Pep in recent years, Frank has got a little. I'm not thinking Frank's battered him like 2 wins, I think, like 3 wins out of how many wins Pep's got, but Frank is still a good manager that can play a style of play that annoys Pep, but it's up to Pep to sort of find a way around it where it's going to he's going to be able to beat it. So I'm feeling I think relatively fine. I'd say I'm not like confident. I'm more like I'm cautious because I know in games like this in a title race I'm massive. Like Arsenal have to come here too as well in the future. So and then they'll go back against you anyway because they've won most of the derbies, the recent derbies, but. Tottenham away is never as simple as you think it is. Yeah, West Ham won 2-1 last minute, but football's a random game. It's very random. Things happen out of nowhere. We least expect it to happen. So I'm feeling good with how we're playing, but it's all dependent on what we go because obviously we've got Gay obviously Savannah back in the team now from Wednesday. Obviously couldn't play because obviously UCL eligibility, so they're available now. This now will be on Pep now to find the right system and right way of playing. I think now that we've got Nunez back as well, right back, we've got players back from injury now, which is good. I feel like we'll start getting into gear, but like you said like before, it's just you can't assume anything in this league as well. This league's random. Every week is a random different result. I'm like, no one would have thought Arsenal were like that United would have won under Carrick. They would have beaten us 2-0, probably about us 4 or 5-0, and went to Arsenal got a result. Like football's a very funny game, so I'm cautious, but I'm confident in my own team. That's what I'll say.
Okay, thank you very much. And before we end, can I get your honest score prediction? You say there that you are confident.
I'm gonna say 2-1 City. I think it'll be one of them games where I think we'll score first this time. I think we'll score first. I think Haaland will score. I know Romero van der Ven will give their all to try and stop him. But I think when Haaland's on the right form and right mentality, that doesn't matter. I think Romero against Haaland is very physical, but again, Haaland, we all know he's very physical himself. It all depends, obviously, on how well Mark Tottenham are defensively. I just think Haaland this game will have something to prove. And I think as well as I think Shirky will as well was another player. I think people need to be careful because his ability on the ball to hold to sort of find spaces out of nowhere and sort of passes and that. I think he'd be a key player in this game. So I think it'll be 2-1 City.
Okay, thank you very much. Your honesty there. I do appreciate it. Sorry, I have to see what happens. If I'm honest with you, struggling with score prediction. I'll probably say 1-1 to sit on the fence. I think it's difficult. I think Tottenham play well. I'm hoping that we, somehow take that confidence in the Champions League into the Premier League. I mean, I'm not too optimistic we'll do that because we didn't do that against Burnley. We didn't carry that from Dortmund into Burnley, but hopefully we can in this game. I think it's one of those, isn't it, where a draw isn't helpful for either side. It has to be a win for you. You have to win to keep up with Arsenal. I think that's critical.
Yeah.
And for us, the reality is you can't keep saying, look, oh, yeah, we're 9 points behind the European places, because all of a sudden that's 10, 11, 12. It just builds up. I think if we're not careful in 2 or 3 weeks' time, that all of a sudden you just say, look, no European places are possible. Then it'll be that no top 10 places possible. So for Tottenham, just it's a case of not falling behind and getting a result. But Luke, thank you very much there. I think that wraps us up nicely for this opposition preview ahead of the game. Where can people follow you and the podcast on social media?
You can look up at NIML Pod on X or Twitter, whatever we want to call it. On YouTube, obviously, as well. Just type that into the search bar on YouTube and you'll find us there. I mean, but originally it wasn't there, but now we're doing a lot of content. It's starting to get more recognised now on time, which is good. And we're starting to pill up more now. I'm browsing stuff now, which is really good. So, yeah, on Twitter and on X and YouTube. We're not on anything else yet. I'm still looking to expand more on like Twitch and Instagram at some point, but it's just sort of expanding the sort of stuff out as we go along. Got more plans for the channel, but right now we're X and YouTube at the moment.
Great stuff, Luke. Thank you very much for the time. And after this game, of course, I wish Man City all the best for the rest of the season. And literally, in this case, I really do mean it. And hopefully, you do win the title. But on a personal note, you and the channel, the podcast, wish you all the best. Thank you very much, and it's great to collaborate with you. But thank you very much, and thank you to also everyone that has listened. Really do appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed this, and come you Spurs for the game.